Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to our today's lesson. Today we'll be looking at one of the greatest scholars of our time from East Africa, a renowned scholar who served not only in Kenya but East and Central Africa and even outside Africa. None other than Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi. So we look at his early life, education, his service to humanity, his contribution and achievements, and of course his lessons. Let us begin our journey. Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi was born on Monday in the month of Safar, that is 1330 after Hijrah, corresponding February 12, 1912 at Jongeani village in Zanzibar. His family was a well-distinguished family that played a major role in the educational life of the people of Zanzibar and East Africa at large. Let us look at his education. He managed to study both systems, that is the secular as well as Islamic education. Before joining government school at the age of 10, he was first made to go through the Islamic traditional system of education. He later memorized the Quran at a tender age and showed brilliance when he was still young. And therefore he finished his primary school education in 1930 and later completed his teacher training course in 1932 and became a teacher at the age of 21. So being a teacher, he was promoted because of his diligence, hard work and commitment, and finally he landed at a job as the Inspector General of Primary Schools, that is in Zanzibar. This he served from 1949 to 1952. That was under the British colonial administrative system that time. He was operating from the Sultan's palace. He was later made the principal of Muslim Academy, which he served from 1952 to 1956, and then he was appointed headmaster of the Arabic medium school from 1957 to 1960, and then he went for Hajj, and when he came back, he didn't go back to Ministry of Education, so he was appointed as teacher at training college. So he didn't go back to high school, but he went to becoming a tutor at a teachers training college. So let us see how he transferred from being a teacher to other fields. In 1960, he was appointed as the Chief Qadi of Zanzibar, a post he held for around 7 years, and that is when he migrated to Kenya after a revolution that happened in 1964 in Zanzibar. Many people were killed, so he and his family moved to Kenya. He was highly welcomed in Kenya, and at that time the family of Mazrui, Sheikh Muhammad Qasim al-Mazrui, recommended him for the post of Chief Qadi of Kenya, and President Jomo Kenyatta accepted this request, and he was appointed the Chief Qadi of Kenya in 1968, and he stayed there until his death, which he died in 1980. After that, let us look a little bit who are some of his teachers. Sheikh Alamin Mazrui was one of his teachers. Remember, Sheikh Alamin Mazrui served also as the first Qadi of Kenya under the British colonial government. And Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi served as Chief Qadi during Kenyatta period, as the first Chief Qadi after Kenya had attained its independence. So Sheikh Abakar bin Abdallah bin Bakatir, okay, first of all, it doesn't mean that between 1964 to 1967 there was no Chief Qadi, but Sheikh Abdallah Al-Farsi was appointed by the Kenyan president. Sheikh Abdallah bin Bakatir, this is also a great scholar, and he was his teacher. Sheikh Muhammad al-Makhzumi was also his teacher, specifically mathematics teacher, that is astronomical studies. a knowledge that nowadays has been ignored, but it used to be there in most of the Muslim madrasa schools. Sheikh Ahmed bin Muhammad al-Ma'mur al-Mamri, he taught him Tafsir al-Quran. Sheikh Abdallah bin Ahmed bin Saif taught him in school. He was a school teacher. Abdul Barri was from Azhar University. He was also one of his teachers. And Sheikh Said al-Alawi, who was a teacher of Arabic and inheritance. Sheikh Abdallah Saleh al-Farsi learned from him. Then let us look at some of his works and contribution to Islam. So the most outstanding work of Sheikh Abdallah Saleh al-Farsi that has remained all these years and will remain all these years is his translation by the name Tafsir ya Qur'ani Takatifu. That is translation of Quran from Arabic to Kiswahili. It's one of the most profound works, and he did this because during the British colonial rule, there was a reverend by the name Godfrey Dale, a Christian missionary in Zanzibar, who had started distorting the Quran. Okay, so he by giving wrong translation of the Quran, so it was countering that wrong Quran translation. So he decided to write correct Quran with correct translation, and that is one of the greatest works which he has attained. And we have, every house has a copy of Quran Takatifu in Kenya right now. Some of other works include his book Maisha ya Mtume Muhammad, that is the biography of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He also wrote biography of Imam Shafi and also other imams of fiqh. So he also wrote about Salah. He translated some short surahs that are mostly used in Salah. It's called Surah za Swala na Tafsiri zake. Then he wrote a book, Potofu wa Tafsiri ya Makadiani. This is a translation of the Ahmadiyya, which is not clean translation. So he wrote a book to shed light on the areas that they had distorted the Quran. And then he translated some short surahs like Surah Yasin, Surah Al-Waqiah, Surah Al-Mulk, with the Arabic text. One side is Arabic text and another side is Swahili. Let us look at his achievement. This is very important. He served in the Kenyan judiciary. That is an achievement. He was a Qadi. So that is an achievement of Kenya. He was also a Qadi in Zanzibar. That's an achievement as far as Zanzibar is concerned. He served as the principal of the Muslim Academy. That is also an achievement. He was the head teacher of Arabic medium school. That is also an achievement. He worked at the Ministry of Education as Inspector of Schools. It's an achievement. Number 6, he was a tutor at Teachers Training College. That is an achievement. Before he resigned in 1967, and he fought for quality of high standard of Muslim education. That is an achievement. He proposed the provision of Muslim teachers into public schools as well as for separate Muslim schools. That is an achievement. Before, Muslim teachers were not found in schools, they were just in separate madrasas, but he proposed this and it was taken. He opposed the law of succession, which was contrary to the law of inheritance and which was also against Islamic teachings. Law of succession means if someone dies, it is the children who will inherit from him, period. Succession. So he was fighting for the law of inheritance. Only those who qualify to inherit should be the heirs, the genuine heirs should inherit, but not anyone, according to the law of succession. He also fought against bid'ah, innovation, that introduced beliefs, concepts, and Islamic traditions into Islam. So he was against them and he succeeded. He shared his knowledge. Many people learned from him, not only in Kenya, but across the eastern coast of Africa, all the way from Somalia to down South Africa. He did a great job. He was one of the international poets. He used to write poems by the in Arabic and Swahili scholars and Muslim historians of East Africa. These are some of his many achievements. Maybe to mention a little bit of how his life ended. He died in November the 9th, 1982. That is, before he died, he had been taken by his family to go to Oman. Actually, he hails from a family that had migrated in early 16th century to the east coast of Africa, and it is one of the families that managed to fight and end the rule of Portuguese in Mombasa, Malindi. So they settled here after that, but the family was still there, so he managed to go back for treatment. However, his death affected, he died there, and it was Allah's plan that he will go there and will never come back. But he left a legacy that is yet to be matched in this region. So his accomplishments and achievements will remain for a long time, and this is evident. There is no library in the history of Islam in East Africa discussing history of Islam in East Africa that will not find Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi. For the students of knowledge, I would love us to discuss some of the achievements, lessons we can learn from the achievement of these great scholars. We should always understand that knowledge has no boundary. That's why we saw him studying from the tender age all the way to old age, and also knowledge has no gender. We should always surround ourselves with a smiling face, a welcoming face, hospitality. This was his character. He was also someone who used to love serving others, and therefore we learned that the best gift you can give others is to serve others. And also we learn number 4 that the duty of spreading Islam is not specific for specific people. It's not meant for specific people, but it is for every Muslim to spread Islam, whether verbally or through actions. Umar radiallahu anhu, the second caliph of Islam, said, "Ud'u an-nas ila al-Islam bila kalamin qila kayfa dhalika ya Amir al-Mu'minin qala bi'amalikum." Call people to Islam without saying a word. So he was asked, how is that going to be possible? He said, let people copy your characters. Non-Muslims don't read Quran or Hadith, but they read our characters and our behavior. So that is a lesson we learned, that spreading Islam is our duty. We also learned that Muslims should stand out to claim their rights in a diplomatic manner. He managed to propose several changes in the education sector. We saw the law of inheritance, and it succeeded because he didn't use force or and diplomatic manner. We also learned that life has challenges and hurdles. He had to run away from Zanzibar because of the revolution, bloody revolution. But this did not stop him from pursuing his careers. He was a chief Qadi in Zanzibar, and he came and became a chief Qadi of Kenya again. So sometimes challenges may take us from one level to the other. Muslims should be role model for others to emulate the way we are emulating Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi. That marks the end of our today's lessons. I want to leave you with an assignment. Briefly discuss the life of Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi, and question 2, identify some of the contribution of Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi to Islam. At least 6, identify 6 contribution of Sheikh Abdallah Saleh Al-Farsi to Islam. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.